topics and opinions expressed in the following show are solely those of the host and their guests and not those of W4CY Radio, its employees, or affiliates. We make no recommendations or endorsements for radio show programs, services, or products mentioned on air or on our web. No liability, explicit or implied, shall be extended to W4CY Radio or its employees or affiliates. Any questions or comments should be directed to those show hosts. Thank you for choosing W4CY Radio.
Welcome to the Ask the Expert show on W4CY Radio and Talk4 TV, where we bring you educational information from top local experts in the fields of legal, health, financial, and home improvement. Now sit back and listen to experts in family law, association law, hearing loss, business brokers, home care, along with many other topics. Now here are your hosts, Steve-O and Sophia.
Hey, good morning. Welcome to another Ask the Experts radio show, where we bring you the finest experts in the field of legal, health, financial, and home improvement. This is the first Wednesday of the month. We do our live show. It is, if you have any interest in functional medicine, anti-aging, weight loss, this has become our most popular show. In fact, it's so popular, we replay it every Wednesday at 10 o'clock. So if you miss part of the show, you can also hear it again, or you can go to iHeart or Spotify, YouTube. But I got to tell you, Dr. Taylor, talk about walk the walk. This man, this doctor, has done nothing but walk the walk. And listen, we spend a lot of time just about his story. And because we are getting so many new listeners for this show, I'm going to let Dr. Taylor explain to you how he got to where he is right now. Good morning, Dr. Taylor.
Hey, good morning. How are you doing?
Man, I love doing your show. I've been doing this for 15 years. And I wish I could say I love doing every show, but everybody's got their own interests. But every show we do, I so enjoy your show. And now that you've come back from Egypt and you've got so much to share with us, tell people about your background.
Okay, well, I'll start from the beginning. I'm from Nashville, Tennessee. I'm the last of 6 children. My dad was a Baptist minister. I went to school in Nashville, Tennessee, went to Vanderbilt, and came to Atlanta to go to Emory Medical School. I met my wife there, Ava Bell Taylor, and she's also a physician. And I did a OBGYN residency, and my wife did a psychiatry and family practice residency. And so we practiced medicine like we were taught for the first 7, 8 years of our career. And then when my wife started having issues, since I was an OBGYN, she was having issues with, with hormones and different things. And when I was trying to apply the things I learned, I saw very clearly that they weren't working. So I actually had a patient who I'm extremely grateful for. I call her the unknown patient because I can't remember who she is, but she gave me a tape and it was about bioidentical hormones or progesterone. And I was too proud to listen to the tape. It was a cassette tape. That tells you how long ago that was. My kids don't even know what a cassette tape is.
Yeah,
But
right.
yeah. So my wife listened to it and she said, I think this guy is talking about me. He's explaining everything I'm going through. So the next day I listened to it and a light bulb went off on my head. And my life has never been the same since then. And that's when I decided to turn away from conventional teaching and really search for the truth. And I found out that the truth is not in what the pharmaceutical rep told me when he came to bring lunch. It was really in those basic physiology books that just describe how the body works and how can you get the body to continue to work like it's supposed to. And so that's what functional medicine. So I became what I call functional medicine. How do we keep the body functioning like it's supposed to? And that's what I've been practicing. And you can call it holistic medicine or whatever. But since I made the decision to go to Egypt, what I now feel like I am becoming is a healer. And healing comes from a place where we're not that's not visible. I'm just a conduit. I'll do whatever I can for a patient, but healing is really something that's more spiritual. And I'm going to tell you the one thing that I've added to my life that I didn't realize how important it was is meditation. Meditation is what connects you to the healer. And I had to get connected first. So I didn't ever meditate, but I started to understand what meditation is. And I took a 30-day course. It was really online. It was called Declutter the Mind. And now I will not start the day without meditation. And it is transformative. And that's what I'm trying to do on the end stage of my career is I've been giving out a lot of information, but now I want to try and give out transformation. And I told you that you see that it has Ageless Blueprint here, is that all the information that I've done, because when I say information, we wrote 2 books 25 years ago. One, because you told me to show this, I'm gonna show it.
Yeah, show,
One
yes.
is Are Your Hormones Making You Sick? And that's about bioidentical hormone replacement and saliva testing and all that. And then we wrote a book called The Stress Connection. Oh, The Stress Connection. And that's information. And if you follow it, it can be transformative. But, I see now that I haven't really followed it. And now I'm trying to do that. And so in this platform that I've created, it's called Ageless Blueprint. I'm giving away all of the information. These books, you can buy them on Amazon if you want. But if you join our Ageless Blueprint, I've converted them into ebooks, I've converted them into audiobooks, and I'm giving it away because I call it my 25th anniversary giveaway. And so we're giving that away so you can have the information. But
How
then
do
I
they
want
get
to
to your
take,
site, Taylor? How do they
well,
get to that site?
yeah, it's www.school, SKOOL.com/ageless. And you go there, you can sign up for the community, it's free. And what it does is I'm trying to give away the information, and I post on that site every day trying to give some kind of motivational insight. But what I really want to do is create a community, because what people are longing, especially since COVID, is community, a group to be able to get together with a group of like-minded people who are trying to do the same thing. And that's what I'm trying to do. So first, I want you to get the information. And then we're going to start trying to figure out how we can use that information to transform lives. And, I guess because, again, I keep saying I'm going to be 65 this year, and I'm really concerned about what am I going to leave behind? Is that, hey, if I retire or if I die, I have a lot of transformative information that I want people to still have available 100 years from now. That's what I learned in Egypt. That's what they were doing. 10,000 years ago, they were trying to give us a message that would be relevant today. And so that's what kind of inspired me, is like, you need to leave a message. You need to leave something behind that will help people. So, I see people come in my office and they talk about, hey, went to this doc and that doc and this doc. And they come to me and I'm able to make sense out of their lives. Well, what's going to happen when I'm gone? Or why can't someone in Idaho or Germany or wherever have that information? And as long as I'm confined to my office on Peachtree Dunwoody Road in Atlanta, I almost feel like I'm doing a disservice to myself and disservice to other people. And I'm happy that I got on this platform to kind of say, hey, you can reach people through this medium. Because when we did this book, the only way I could reach people was to go get on a plane, hope that
Yes.
somebody would pay me to speak, hope somebody would, and that's all I had. That's all I had. And I wasn't a pioneer in all of this podcasting and all that stuff. I did it, and it wore me out. After 10 years, I said, I can't do this anymore. But now I have this new energy because I'm like, hey, I remember how I felt, how excited I was when I was doing that initially, and then it just wore me out. But if I can do it sitting here in my study, you know, and I can make a platform and people can have access to it, and I don't have to get on a plane, I don't have to stay in a hotel, I don't have to eat hotel food, I don't have to get a taxi. I'm like, that's like heaven on earth. So I want to continue to reach people on your platform. I also want to have, this platform, and I'm going to tell you, I've spent a lot of money and a lot of time trying to figure out how to do this on a grand scale. And I can see it, I can feel it. But let me tell you, one thing I learned this morning, because I'm always on YouTube listening to things. They said great things are done in secret. So, I didn't tell you about this ageless blueprint and all this stuff. I just, hey, here it is. So I don't know exactly what the future holds, but I'm going to secretly develop it. And then, I just tell you to stay tuned. Almost,
Right.
it's like a continuous story. Hey, stay tuned for you know, for the next episode. So I don't know exactly what the next episode's going to be, but I hope it's going to continue to transform lives.
Dr. Taylor, I hope I identify this right. There are
Hmm.
so many people out there, people know their own body. They just feel their body. And we
Right.
know when there's something wrong. And you
Yeah.
go to a doctor and they go, there's nothing wrong with you. All your blood work is fine.
Yeah.
Then they go to Dr. Taylor. And that's really, you've got
Yeah.
an amazing position. What about this patient that had
Uh,
cancer that we were talking about?
yeah. I told you that yesterday. A, a patient came to me yesterday. She had uh, she had what she thought was she needed a hysterectomy. She had endometriosis, whatever. So what they found was is that she had evidence of a cervical
42
cancer.
years old.
42 years old. So they said, okay, you have, we sent it to pathology, and I think you may have cervical cancer. And they said, oh, yeah, you do have cervical cancer. We're not sure if it's all gone or not. So, therefore, since we're not sure if it's gone, we're going to set you up for chemotherapy and radiation just in case. And again, she's 42, she's a young girl, and she said, "No, I don't feel good about that." And she almost said the guy was like almost badgering her, and said, and he was on the phone for the radiation department to set up her radiation, and she had to walk out the room. So she came to me, and I said, do you realize at 42, if they radiate your cervix, that's in the area of your bladder and your rectum, and you're going to have trouble for the rest of your life? He said, oh, yeah, they told me that. And that's just on the thought that she may have some remnants of cancer.
May.
May. Well,
Yeah.
there's a test called Signatera. It's a new test. It's actually free, and it looks for DNA of that particular cancer. They get the specimen from the pathology, look at that cancer and its characteristics, and then look for the DNA of that cancer in the bloodstream to see if there's any remnants. So you can know if you got it all. And if there's only remnants there, you can do things like IV vitamin C. There's other things, and just clean up your diet, clean up your lifestyle. All of that stuff can help prevent a recurrence of cancer. So I told her that, and she was like, she felt the connection of our spirits. Okay. And that is what I'm looking for, is that deep connection when myself and a patient have that connection. That's when she can heal. When she is in a situation where she feels connected, she felt disconnected from that person. She knew that was not right for her. And
Right.
I encourage people to follow their own inner guidance. I tell them never do anything that they don't feel comfortable with. And that includes me. If I tell you something and you don't feel comfortable with it, I need to explain it enough, or you need to do enough research that you feel comfortable. Because if you don't believe it is going to work, I don't care what I do, it will not work. Okay, so we have to be on. So anyway, I felt so relieved, and I'm like, wait a minute. There's a lot of other people out there in that same. I've seen a bunch of them, and they come to me after they have done something that they didn't feel comfortable about. And
Right.
then I come and I tell them, I know why you didn't feel comfortable about it, because your spirit was telling you, don't do it. And I have learned that's what meditation has taught me, is to trust my inner spirit. And what I realized is that my inner spirit told me to listen to that tape. Well, it was my wife. She's a part of my inner spirit too.
Yeah,
But
right.
my inner spirit told us to change the way we practice. My inner spirit told me to marry my wife. Let me tell you, and thankfully my parents have passed away. I met my wife in April of that year. In in what was it? No, in April. Thanksgiving, I proposed to her. I went and saw my parents, and we had to tell a little bit of a fib and say that we had been dating for more than a year.
I
Okay.
understand
And
that.
by that June of that next year, we were married. And 38, almost 39 years later, we're still married. What did I
Amazing.
followed my inner spirit. So I'm just now remembering that. I followed my inner spirit to decide to do OBGYN. I followed my inner spirit to write these books. And so I am really learning to trust my inner guidance and not need anybody else to confirm it. Just go with what I believe. Let me tell you, it was my inner guidance that told me to sign the contract with you. Okay.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's
because my
amazing.
wife was like, "Do you really think you should do it?" Well, I said, I'm going to give it a try." And so, so I when you look
3
back
years
over your,
later.
yeah, and when you look back over your life, you start saying, why did I make those decisions? And you're like, the good decisions I made, I just did it. I didn't, I didn't overthink it. I didn't try and talk myself out of it. I just did it. And so that's what I'm trying to help people to understand, is that you do have a inner spirit that if you will listen to it, it'll guide you exactly to where you want to go, because that's what that patient said. She said, I knew my spirit told me to come here, because she just it came up on Google or whatever. And I have been putting it out there that, hey, bring me the patients who really want me to help them, because I don't ever try and convince somebody to do what I'm asking them to do. I used to always say, when I would speak to doctors about trying to change how they practice, you can't convert people who don't want to be converted. So don't try to convert people into a way of thinking if they don't want to do it, because it's not going to go anywhere. So anyway, so yeah, that's
Dr.
that
Taylor,
patient. Yeah.
I'm going to use a biblical term.
Yeah.
How do you know when you've yoked with a patient?
You just feel it. I'm telling you,
Yeah.
it's that I mean, this is what I'm learning from. This is what I'm learning from meditation, is that your thoughts and feelings have a energy frequency, that when your frequency matches my frequency, it resonates. And that resonance, I can't explain it. I can't explain it. But you just know I resonate with you, Steve. Okay. Now
Yes.
somebody else may not resonate with you. That's maybe why you don't enjoy
Rebel
those
doesn't.
other other
Rebel.
people. Yeah. Yeah. So when you resonate, it's easy. It's easy for me to come on this platform. I don't, it's not stressful. I'm not anxious. I'm not anything. It's easy. So I think that's maybe that's the reason why it's doing well. If it was another host, or if I didn't feel like I resonated with you, I would not keep signing those documents. I
Yes.
just
And
wouldn't.
I got to tell you, Dr.
Hmm.
Taylor, this is my 15th year of Ask the Experts. And felt your, I felt you spiritually, because I
Yeah.
know where you've come from. I'm
Yeah.
so in awe of, I mean, you gave up. You're an, oh, listen, people should know OB-GYN doctors make a lot of money. You gave that
Not as
all
much as you
up to
think.
go and,
Not as much as you
well,
think
but
anymore with managed care and all.
yeah, yeah, that's true too. But you gave that up at the time to go into something that you thought was more important
Yeah,
than money. I mean, that's because actually started your practice over,
yeah,
completely over. And
yeah.
I just see, and I just said, you know what? I want to make. We took it to just an Atlanta show, took
Mm.
it to Georgia, and then I said, this has got to be heard throughout the country. And
Yeah,
you know, it's not about the money; it's about this is such an important show.
yeah.
And again, what you've done, and
Mm.
let's give people the name of the books again, too. By the way,
It's the stress connection, and here the stress connection, and are your hormones making you sick? But I really like for you to go to www.school.com/ageless, and I'll give it to you. That's how that's how important I think the information is. So please
and you add to
join.
it every day.
Every day I post something. And probably today, when you send me this link, I'm gonna post this because I'm trying to get people to understand what I'm trying to do. And I told, since you gave me a biblical term, I'm gonna give you one back because again, I was raised. So there's in the Bible, Jesus said you can't put new wine in old wineskins. Okay,
Mm,
so I consider this my old wineskin. Okay, this is what I did. I have to empty out that wineskin so that I can put in this new wineskin about meditation. And remember that dream I told you about quantum physics that I
yes.
didn't finish? That is what I am I'm learning every day is that quantum field where let me tell you quantum field is where miracles happen. Okay, is that when you are in that unknown, when you are when you are in a place that is beyond what we see, that's the quantum field, and that's energy. And I want to. I don't want to give away everything, but that is the key: is understanding that we're all made of energy. We're all a part of this quantum field. We're all connected in this quantum field, and that's why I've never met you in person, but we feel each other because
Yes.
we are in this quantum field. And everything is connected. Again, that's what I learned in Egypt. When I went to Egypt, even though that was 10,000 years ago, you could feel the connection when you were in those tombs and when you were in those temples. And that really brought it home to me. And like I say, this is this is all this deep stuff. In the quantum field, there is no time or space. So even though that was 10,000 years ago, you can still, the energy of that civilization can still be felt. And again, that's all this new wineskin. And I got to get rid of all that other
You've
stuff because
taught me about
this
you've taught me
this new
how
stuff is
important,
so.
yeah,
Yeah, go
really,
ahead. I'm sorry.
about
Yeah,
how important stress is. You have taught me about that. So now
yeah,
with your meditating, has that taken you to a
yes.
whole new level with your stress?
That's how you relieve the stress is by meditation. That is so. Like I say, this is this deep stuff. When you are stressed, that's because you're focusing on this right here. When you
Right.
meditate, you let go of all of this and you are opening up yourself to a new possibility, to a new life, to a new way of looking at the problems that you see. If you if you clear your mind, you that's where you can see things differently. But when you're so focused on the little things that happen every day, you have no ability to change anything. So you're going to stay in this stressful state. I tell people the number one thing to do is to try and get rid of the stress. So, like I say, if it's a bad job or whatever, just get rid of
Right.
it. But then the second thing I tell patients is you have to change how you respond to the stress. And at first, I didn't really have any clear guidance on how to help them do that. Meditation is how you can respond differently to the stress, even if the stress is still there. So,
Wow.
if you've got a stress of a sick child or any stress that you really can't get rid of, the way you respond differently to it is to meditate and relieve yourself of that stress. If you can just relieve yourself of the stress for 15, 20 minutes, it gives you a new perspective on whatever problem that you have. So that's what I'm learning. How do you change that response? Now, the third thing I talk about is repair the damage caused by the stress. So there can be some real damage caused. It can be stress can damage your gut, it can damage your hormones, it damages your brain. You can't think clearly, you're so preoccupied, so you have to repair that damage. And then you have to prepare for future stress. And that is again where meditation comes in. When you are so comfortable with yourself, when you're so connected to your inner spirit, to the quantum field, future stress no longer is stressful. you know so you've learned how to not even go into that stressful state, and that's the key. That's what I'm learning, and that's what I'm hoping to teach more people, is that you're going to have stress. As long as you're in this world, you're going to
Yeah.
have stress. But how do I prepare myself so I don't get caught up in the stress? And that's where meditation comes in.
Dr. Taylor,
So
one more time, because we're run out of time, but
yeah.
tell people again, how do they get to the site, the school
Okay.
site?
Yep. www, and spell school with a K, not a CH, SKOOL.com/ageless. And I want you to go to the about page, but it'll automatically lead you there. You have to sign up. And I have some videos there trying to explain who I am and what I'm trying to do. And I'm going to add it right now. Believe me, it's under construction, but it's there. I'm giving away all the stuff that I know. Also, my lecture. I have a lecture, is how to become an honorary gynecologist. That's free. The stress connection lecture, that's free. Take it, because we've got a lot more things to learn and to experience. So you can have it all.
I am so excited. We'll be replaying the show next Wednesday at the same
Mhm.
time. Dr. Taylor, thank you. I
Yeah.
love you, bro.
Thank you. I love you too. And thank you so much for
Okay,
this opportunity.
you're welcome. That's
All right.
Dr. Eldred Taylor, Taylor Medical Group. You can also go to his website, www.taylormedicalgroup.com, 678-443-4000. We're going to go to a short break. We'll be right back.
Thanks for tuning in today to the Ask the Expert show on W4CY Radio and Talk4 TV. Tune in next week and every week to hear more from our experts on personal injury, insurance, air condition repairs, estate planning, Medicare, and many other topics in the areas of legal, health, financial, and home improvement. See you next week.